Welcome, everyone, to another Fantasy Goodfellas video where Richard and I talk about the top 24 quarterback rankings for week 2. Richard, you ready?
Let's do it.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.
Boom, boom, boom.
Rolling on the field.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.
First of all, last week, we hit on 19 of our top 24, which is not bad. For week 1, we missed on Brady, Prescott, for obvious reasons, Aaron Rodgers of all people, right? Matt Stafford and Trey Lance.
Before we get started, let me just explain what you should expect in this video. Richard's going to give his rankings, and I'm going to use our stat machine to try to hold them accountable and show you some awesome stats. All right, Richard, line them up.
At number 1, we have Patrick Mahomes, who is home against the LA Chargers, in which should be a shootout.
This week's shootout.
All Pat Holmes did last week is throw for 5 touchdowns. He looks great. Tyreek Hill, big loss, but it's not affecting Pat Mahomes in the least. At number 2, we have Justin Herbert, who will be at Kansas City, the aforementioned shootout. And what can you say about Justin Herbert? He looked good last week. I think we're going to have more of the same. He's going to be forced to throw more this week because he's got to keep up with Pat Mahomes.
Hold on real quick. Should we be worried that Keenan Allen got hurt?
Yes. You can argue that Keenan Allen is wide receiver 1 on that team. And he'll be missed, but Justin Herbert just looks great. Even after Keenan Allen went down that game, I mean, he still has Mike Williams, who he didn't use much, has Palmer, has Eckler out of the backfield. I don't think, just like we saw with Hill and Pat Mahomes, I don't think Allen is going to affect a great quarterback like Justin Herbert. At number 3, we have Josh Allen, who will be home against Tennessee. What can you say about Josh Allen? He looked phenomenal week 1. He's just, with the matchup this week, he may not have to put up as many points. They might rely more on running. We will see. At number 4, we have Kyler Murray, who is at Las Vegas, and what I think will be a shootout. Kyler Murray looked okay last week. I think the Vegas defense, they allowed a lot of points from the Chargers. I think Kyler Murray will be able to score as well. At number 5, we have Russell Wilson, who is home against Houston. Russell Wilson looked great against Seattle. They didn't win, but he still passed for over 300 yards with a whole new offense, a whole new group around him. It looked like he had chemistry with Judy and Cortland Sutton. I really like his outlook. At number 6, we have Lamar Jackson, who will be home against the Dolphins. Tough defense, but Lamar Jackson looked good against the Jets. Granted, it was the Jets. We just hope he can stay healthy all season. At number 7, we have Joe Burrow, who will be at Dallas. Joe Burrow looked shaky at the beginning, threw some picks, but he looked solid at the end, making that comeback, looked very confident. I love the outlook for him, Jamar Chase, everybody on that offense. At number 8, we have Kirk Cousins at Philadelphia. So Kirk Cousins looked good. He looked like that connection with Justin Jefferson looked perfect. And now they're playing Philadelphia, who allowed Detroit to score 35 points. So I think Kirk Cousins is going to have a good week. At number 9, Jalen Hurts, who will be home against Minnesota. So Hurts passed for about 230 yards, which is okay, more than I expected. Granted, they were playing the Lions. Again, I'm not as high on Hurts as everybody else, but I think Minnesota is going to be a tough test.
In some rankings, Jalen Hurts was ranked 4th. Now, he did that with very few touchdowns. I think he had 1 rushing touchdown. Should there be any concerns? Yeah, he's getting the yards, but not the TDs.
Yeah, well, he's going to score points with his legs. But again, when quarterbacks have to run to succeed, they're going to get hurt. And that's the problem with Jalen Hurts. And he doesn't pass for much. He added A.J. Brown, and he found the connection to A.J. Brown. But I still expect him to have a couple of clunkers during the season and at some point be injured. At number 10, Tom Brady at New Orleans. Tom Brady didn't have to do much against the Cowboys. The Buccaneers dominated the Cowboys. So now this week at New Orleans, we'll see if Jameis Winston's able to put up points and Brady has to keep up, he will do well. At number 11, we have Aaron Rodgers, who will be home against the Bears. Aaron Rodgers had a clunker. I think he'll rebound. He's a big ego guy. I think he's going to have a big game against the Bears. At number 12, we have Derek Carr, who will be home against Arizona in what I think is going to be a shootout. What did we see from Derek Carr in week 1? What we saw of him last year. He's a guy, he's got weapons now, right? He added Devontae Adams. They can move the ball. He can sling it, but he also makes mistakes. He's also inconsistent. That's why he's always in the middle of my rankings. But this is a good week for him to put up a lot of points. At number 13, we have Matt Stafford, who will be home against Atlanta. Is Matt Stafford 100%? We don't know. He didn't look great against Buffalo, but that Buffalo D is tough. This week, he's got a much softer defense, and I think Matt Stafford will rebound. At number 14, we have Carson Wentz at Detroit. Carson Wentz looked good week 1. Now he's got a matchup, obviously, against a team that allowed 38 points to the Eagles last week. I think Carson Wentz will be fine. He's got weapons. Curtis Samuel and Scary Terry McLaurin are a dynamic duo. And don't forget that rookie, Jahan Dotson.
In some rankings, Carson Wentz was ranked 3rd, and you said he did good. I think that's great. The problem is, can he keep it up?
No, he is by no stretch of the imagination a top 10 quarterback, but he looks like this year he's going to be viable. As long as he stays healthy, which is always another question mark with him. At number 15, we have Jameis Winston, who'll be home against Tampa Bay. We saw what Tampa Bay did to Dak Prescott. Can Jameis Winston fare any better? Not so sure, but he did have a good week 1. Michael Thomas looks like he's back. Maybe not to 100%, but he's back. He obviously performed. So I think Winston will be all right this week. He's going to have to keep up with Tom Brady. So at number 16, we have Tua Tagovailoa at Baltimore. That's a tough defense, but Tua has Tyreek Hill, has Jalen Waddle. He's got Chase Edmonds out of the backfield. He has weapons. And Mike McDaniel, the Dungeon Master. I like what he's doing.
I know you're a Dolphin guy. Why can't Tua move up in your rankings? I mean, he has all the weapons. What holds him back for you?
As you saw last week, where did he rank as far as fantasy goes? Somewhere in this middle range, 14, 15, 16, right? And that's including Tyreek Hill. That's including Jalen Waddle. That's including everything he's got around him, a better offensive line. He just, he never puts up amazing numbers in fantasy. He's always just steady until that trend changes, until like Tyreek Hill starts catching 80-yard touchdowns every week. I'm going to continue to put him somewhere in the middle. At 17, Justin Fields at Green Bay. Justin Fields looked terrible for a half. In the second half, a little bit of a rally against a very good San Francisco defense. I'll give him that. So did Justin Fields break out of it? I mean, he has all the talent in the world. At number 18, Ryan Tannehill at Buffalo. Tannehill was serviceable last week. And this week, he's up against a very good defense that pretty much shut down Stafford. So I don't expect much from Ryan Tannehill, but because of his past week, we'll put him in the top 24. At number 19, Matt Ryan at Jacksonville. Matt Ryan, also serviceable, has got a good matchup this week. We don't expect the world from him, but enough to put him in this group.
The elder statesman, Matt Ryan, threw 50 times. Do you think that's going to hold up? He's going to wear out? What's going to happen?
He can pass a lot. I mean, that's what he's done his whole career. So they had to pass a lot because they were behind, which is crazy, right, to the Texans. And they actually tied. Indianapolis probably won't have to pass that much every week, especially if they rely on their uber-talented running back, Jonathan Taylor. And this week against Jacksonville's a good matchup. At number 20, we have Jared Goff, who will be home against Washington. He put up 35 points last week. Detroit has weapons. I mean, you talk about DeAndre Swift, you talk about Amon-Ra St. Brown. Hawkinson is a great tight end. It's just Jared Goff is his quarterback. But Jared Goff has talent around him. At number 21, Trevor Lawrence, who will play home against the Colts. Another guy we're giving the benefit of the doubt to. Had an all right week 1. At number 22, Daniel Jones will be playing home against Carolina. Is Saquon Barkley going to continue to play the way he played last week? I mean, he didn't look good at all last year. Is he completely healthy? Can he make a difference? If so, it'll help Daniel Jones. At number 23, Geno Smith will be at San Francisco. Geno Smith is playing against a tough defense, but he looked really good against another tough defense in Denver. So we'll give him the benefit of the doubt here. He looked good, and he has weapons. He's got Tyler Lockett. He's got DK Metcalf. I think there's potential. And at number 24, barely making our list, is Trey Lance, who will be home against Seattle. What can you say about Trey Lance? He looked miserable against the Bears. This is what a lot of people were afraid of. This is probably why they didn't let him start last week. Can he lose his job at some point this year to Jimmy G? Absolutely. If he continues to play as he did, he's not ready. He's not ready. He might not ever be ready.
Hold on. To say Trey Lance isn't good, that was a terrible weather game. So you're thinking regardless of the weather, he still is not that good.
I agree. Look, there were a couple things, right? Well, the weather was terrible, but look, Justin Fields put up better numbers against a better defense in the same sloppy weather. You just got to wonder about Trey Lance. He has not looked good in any game he's played as a pro.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on here and sharing your top 24 rankings for week 2.
It's my pleasure. Good luck to everybody. I'm sorry about all the injuries.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.
rolling on the field.
The Fantasy Goodfellas.